And that's the thing. What's going to be remarkable about your success is not going to be the time in which you completed it. It's not going to be the age at which you completed it or you know, got your success. What's going to be remarkable about your success and your journey is something else. Like for me, I often think that what's remarkable or going to be remarkable about my success, and which prevents me from being so hellbent on achieving success within my 20s and like achieving everything within my 20s, is that I think, well, what's going to be remarkable is the way I do it, the depth at which I go to meet myself, to therefore be able to experience those highs and experience that success. It's going to be my arc. It's going to be the plethora of interests that I have. You know, I'm multi-passionate. And I think when you're a multi-passionate, there's not one thing that you're really good at. And I think those are the sort of people that achieve great success in their early 20s or their 20s in general, is that they are, you know, they're a master of one. They've got one thing that they're really hell-bent on achieving, you know, whether that's like being an athlete, whether that's being a singer, a performer, you know, a actor, any sort of creative pursuit. That's their one thing. That's where all their focus is going into. Multi-passionates have a harder time at this because there's so many things that we want to achieve. There's so many things that we want to do, and we want to do them all at the same time. You know, something for me that I often find is I always feel guilty and I'm like, oh God, you know, while I'm creating content, I'm not, you know, working on songwriting, or I'm not working on dance, or I'm not like, I don't know, building another business, or I'm not doing makeup or whatever. It's quite hard to do them all. Sorry, I'm quite cold. It's quite hard to do them all at once. But what I've actually discovered, instead of like beating myself up and being like, oh yeah, but you know, while I'm doing this, I'm not doing that, realizing that while you're doing one thing, it's helping and aiding the other thing. And this is how I want you to think. This is how I want you to remember, like everything that you do is for your greater good, and everything that you do is helping the other thing. So every time I go and do dance, I am getting good at being in my body and being in my performance and just like feeling myself, which means that then I feel inclined to then maybe do makeup. It means that I'm energized to then create some really, you know, energy rich content like this YouTube video. You know, I've poured into a dance this morning. I did my makeup, I've done my hair, I've put a cute outfit together, I've taken some pictures. Now I feel fucking ready to talk about, you know, what I'm talking about today. I'm like ready and raring to go. You'll be able to feel my energy. And like, you know, my makeup looks cute while I'm doing it. You know, being able to focus on my makeup and making myself look different from other people, making myself stand out, is helping my content. It means people are more drawn to me. I'm more recognizable. It means that they know something about me, or they feel like you know, you probably feel like you know me a little bit more because I've like done this makeup look and I've like experimented with my aesthetic. Like you're getting to know me more and more as I'm displaying more and more of myself. You know, being able to come up with great hooks, being able to come up with great titles is also great for songwriting, because you need to be able to come up with those like really fucking amazing bars. None of it is mutually exclusive. All of it is helping one another. And I just want to reassure you about, you know, worrying about your age. I think something that dominated my mindset for most of my 20s, to be honest, was this feeling of dread, this feeling of like, I'm not gonna be able to achieve anything or everything that I want to do in my 20s. You know, I was thinking at 25 that I'd already fucking failed, which is insanity. Like, it's so weird. Now at 28, I've just turned 28. Now I am at this age, and I felt like this at 27 too. I feel younger now. I feel more myself. I feel more authentic. I feel the best version of myself. So even if I were to receive the success that I want when I was younger, I wouldn't have been able to hold it. I wouldn't have been able to take advantage of it. I wouldn't have been able to, my nervous system would not have been able to take it, and therefore it would have just gone like a one-hit wonder flop. Who I am now would be able to sustain and hold what comes with success now. That's what the universe is waiting for. The universe is waiting for me to become my most authentic self so that I could hold what it has in store for me. At 25, at 24, whatever, I would not have been able to hold that so effectively. It would have been, you know, maybe like a rise, and then my insecurities would have taken over. I would have self-sabotaged. I'm not in that position anymore. I wouldn't do that anymore. So maybe that's the reason why, you know, things have happened at a different time for you. And also you can't be obviously comparing yourself with other people's stories, but you also, you know, like I said, it's this idea that like we have to achieve everything in our 20s is made up. When you realise as well that, especially for women, it's a deeply patriarchal paradigm is the right word? I don't know, concept, phenomenon. You want to abandon it. Because when I realised that it was just this idea that, you know, it's this ageist feeling that we have towards women, that women are somehow less desirable, less valuable, etc. in society once they get older. When you kind of abandon that, or when you realise that that's what it is and that's all it is, and it's not because you're behind or you're not doing enough or you're doing something wrong, you like, it's very difficult when you know that to continue to maintain it, because you realise that it's a borrowed opinion, it's a borrowed concept, it's not your own thoughts, it's not something that came from you originally, and therefore your body wants to reject it when it knows that. It's like any conditioning, you know, for example, I'm a recovering people pleaser, and when I realised that all these thoughts of guilt, all these thoughts of shame, all these thoughts of like I should put my needs last, and you know, I can't have conflict because otherwise they're going to hate me, all those thoughts and all that self-loathing was just the voice of basically my family. It was literally just my mum's voice in my head saying all these kind of like self-loathing things in my head. And when I realised that, I just abandoned it. I couldn't take it on. I couldn't keep it in my body. I realised that it was not my own. It was not my own opinion. And I feel like you can extrapolate that to apply to this as well. When you realise this idea that like you should achieve certain things at a certain age, not only does it collapse all the nuance between that, you know, it collapses childhood trauma, it collapses all the growth that we have to do in order to get to that point, it collapses privilege, it collapses, you know, resources that one might have access to. It also is just false. It's also just limiting. It also induces this sense of urgency and panic, which literally prevents you from manifesting your dream life. When you have this sense of urgency and you're like, oh my God, I need to achieve things at a certain age, otherwise I'm a failure. Not only are you increasing cortisol in your body, which is like this tightening up sort of like, it has this tightening up effect. It means you're stressed. It means you're on edge. You're not relaxed to then draw in what you want to draw in, and you have this relaxed energy. It's that chasing energy. Chasing energy literally repels your dream life, literally repels your goals, literally repels your dream reality. And it kind of puts you in this place of lack. And when you're in this place of lack, the universe gives you more lack. The universe gives you more things that are on that vibration of lack, which are things you don't want. However, when you come at it from like, look, the universe has a time for me, divine timing. The universe has what it needs to, well, the universe basically controls what happens, and I just need to like relinquish that. I need to let go. Weirdly, things relax, things start happening, and everything comes flooding in. It's so strange, isn't it? That the moment that you relax, the moment that you let the universe take control of like the timing of everything, instead of trying to like force things, everything works out. Like, so many things have literally accelerated for me in the past like 4 months when I stopped or when I worked very hard on unlearning these this conditioning that we've had, not only from our family and caregivers, but also from society, that we need to achieve things in our 20s and somehow we're a failure if we don't. Once I started unlearning all that and like really reprogramming it, really understanding how kind of like absurd it was, how I knew it was a social construction, how I knew it wasn't the reality, how I knew that something that I often worried about was that I wouldn't be the most beautiful, the most pretty, the most like iconic, the best I've ever like looked appearance wise when success would hit. I worried about that. I was like, you know what if I experience success like when I'm not in my physical prime? I've only got hotter. Once I'd said to the universe that I wanted success, once I was like, no, I want this, like I want, you know, to make a lot of money, I want to be famous, I want to you know, make money being myself, the universe was like, bet, okay, well, then I'm going to make sure that you level up aesthetically. Like, this makeup look I would not have done a mere 4 or 5 months ago. I would not even think to do it. I've like settled into my sort of theatricalness. my authenticity, my true feelings. I journaled this morning and I basically realised, like, shit, the universe has kind of just low-key been waiting for me to rediscover my authenticity, to rediscover all these like gorgeous parts of me, my true self, my passion, my, you know, sharpness, my candidness, my theatricalness, my low-key campness in a sense. It's been waiting for that so that by the point at which I'm at my absolute pinnacle and therefore I can sustain it aesthetically, you know, internally, nervous system wise, that's when I'm going to get success. Things have been like, you know, going much faster as of late because I've stepped into my authenticity, because I've stepped into those things. And I think that that's the thing, you know, when you kind of just like pour into your joy, pour into your inner child, pour into yourself, the universe just gives you whatever you want tenfold. All you need to do is set the intention. You know, this is what I want, this is what I want it to look like, and don't worry about the how and when. The universe provides. And so weirdly, abandoning this idea that you should achieve things at a certain age almost makes them come in much faster. And also for me, like I said, taking the pressure off myself, that is, you know, what's going to be remarkable about my success is how young I was when I achieved it. That's just not possible for me, okay? The only way that's really possible for anybody, to be honest with you, is if they have self-esteem drilled into them as a child. If they have resources at their fingertips that mean that they can, you know, do whatever they want with the resources at their fingertips. It only really happens if, you know, there's certain conditions that mean that people can experience success young. And I think the majority of it will be familial support. I think the majority of it will be people whose parents are supportive, people whose maybe brothers or caregivers or somebody in their life told them that they were good, told them that they were great and supported them and vouched for them. For those of us that didn't have that, we've had to spend years and years and years of our early 20s, if not 30s, trying to like heal from all that, trying to undo all of that awful conditioning, all of that conditioning that meant that we would always put our knees behind everybody else, that we thought that we were a piece of shit, that we had to deal with all our emotional trauma, to even get to a point of neutral. And then on top of that, spend more years trying to build our self-esteem up to then be in a position to be able to manifest what we want, to be able to attract what we want effortlessly. Those kids that had that privilege from a young point, and then if they had resources on top of that, that's why they've achieved success young, because they were literally told that they mattered. They were literally told that they were something from a young age and they believed it, and it meant that they could go for what they wanted, you know, guilt-free, restriction-free. Many of us don't have that privilege. So to almost compare ourselves to those people is literally self-sabotage and self-harm. I did that for a really long time. Through my early 20s, I was like, what's wrong with me? Why don't I have that? Like, you know, I don't understand. I knew it was in my future, but I was frustrated that it wasn't happening now. And it's because I literally had like people around me who were my biggest ops that literally didn't want good things to happen to me, wanted me to do what they wanted. And like, you know, instilled this self-loathing in me that obviously repelled my dreams. Having to unlearn that takes years. And it means that you start off on a different point from everybody else. So, you know, what's going to be remarkable about my success is going to be that journey, is going to be that arc, is going to be like, she went from being this like person who was a shell of herself, couldn't speak up for herself, couldn't self-advocate, didn't have boundaries, couldn't say no, put their knees behind everybody else's, fawned, put their dreams on hold, was constantly burnt out, to being the inversion of all those things, you know, iconic, like self-loving, self-obsessed, authentic, unapologetic, all those things. That's what's going to be remarkable about mine and your success. Not the time frame through which we achieved it with, you know, it's just not going to be the time frame. And that's okay. You know, some people, it's like, wow, you're amazing, you achieved this at like 21. It's like, yeah, I love that for them. But that doesn't diminish, you know, you achieving those things in your late 20s, early 30s or 40s. Because you just had a different journey. You didn't have to, they didn't have to contend with the shit that you had to contend with. Do you know what I mean? And it takes people at different... I mean, I think about this a lot with Charlie XCX. You know, she has been in the music game for a really long time. And her music has only really blown up in her early 30s. I mean, she's always been around, but like, you know, since Brat Summer, she's all over the place. And, you know, the timing was perfect for her. Her music has always been, you know, it sounded like it is now. But it took her like a decade or two, or maybe not two, but like a decade and a half maybe, to find this particular sound. And for it to hit at the exact right moment it was supposed to hit. It was supposed to hit, you know, of summer 2024. It was supposed to hit then. Because that's when people were most receptive to it. It was like the universe was waiting for that divine moment when Charlie XCX's music was going to hit and just like blow up. And that's why, you know, it's the same with like, probably like the Wuthering Heights, you know, she's doing the score for that, right? So, or she's done the score for that. You know, people wouldn't have made that film, or the Emerald, I don't know what her surname is, but the director, you know, it's happened at the exact right time societally, and also, you know, with the right team and the right ideas and the right kind of like artistic direction with Charlie XCX. Like, this is going to boost her career even more. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's like this like remaking of Wuthering Heights, or a version of Wuthering Heights, has come at the exact right time for Charlie XCX's music. And in any other not a generation, but any other time, those two kind of genres wouldn't have been associated with each other. Like, think about Charlie XCX's music, think about a gothic classic. Like, it doesn't seem to like ordinarily go together, but it does for this, because it was meant to happen at this exact time. And I think about that. I think about so many other examples of like, the music was supposed to hit at the exact time. You know, I think about Squid Games and the fact that it took the director or producer 10 years to even get it like on Netflix or on air or just out there. Because the universe was waiting for the exact right time for it to then blow up to being what, like one of the most watched shows in the world. Divine timing is a thing, and I trust so deeply that that's the same for our success. That's the same for us. And our age doesn't come into consideration then, does it? Because there's nothing we can do to force it through. All we can do is continue to be authentic, continue to work on our craft, continue to put the consistency in, and you know, pour love into our creativity and our joy. That's all we can do. And the universe is going to decide when the right timing is. And when you hit that timing, and I know when that timing hits for me, it's going to be so obvious why it happened then. It's going to be so obvious. And I can fucking feel it rumbling under the surface. I don't know. I feel like 28, something about this year feels different. 26, like 25 through 27 felt like this runner up. I mean, 27 was like, you know, things are going, things are good. 28, I've decided this is my year of fun for a start. Instead of like working hard, grinding. I've done a lot of that in the past like decade. I'm done with that realistically for the time being. I want to have fun. And I've set up systems in place that mean that I should be able to have fun and not put any extra labour in. I've done the work, like it just works for me. You know, I'm most authentic online right now. My content is doing well. My business is doing well. Things are starting to click. And I feel like something's rumbling under the surface. You know when it is. And the timing is going to make so much fucking sense when it does hit. And it's going to be at my physical peak. Or not even peak, but like, it's just going to be at a point where I physically just look crazy gorge. Where I'm like my most authentic self. Where I feel the best in myself and my appearance. It's going to happen when my nervous system is most regulated. It's going to happen when I'm at my most confident and self-assured and boundaried. It's going to happen when I am unapologetic, or the most unapologetic. That's what the universe is waiting for, and it's waiting for the same for you. It's fucking exciting. And so it's okay if your success or like your age is not what makes your success great. There is a plethora of other ways in which other people's success or people's success makes it great, makes it unique, makes it intriguing. It's the arc, it's the journey, it's how you got there. I think about this with like Julia Fox and her journey. It's just so like crazy. And people love that. And if you're presenting it online as well, and people have followed you for a long time and they've watched your journey, that's what makes you addictive. That's what makes your success like really intriguing for people, because not only do they see themselves in that, but they also think, I've been there since the beginning. If you share that online and your journey, people find it intriguing. I know this is a bit of like a rogue video, and I feel like I maybe should have written down some points for this, but that was really my main point, is that like this feeling that our age is what determines the remarkability of our success is crazy. Especially when you're somebody who has had to do a lot of internal work first in order to get to a point of being able to draw in success in the first instance. You know, what's remarkable about, or what's going to be remarkable about my success is my multi-passionateness, is my many interests, is this going from one extreme to another. That's what's remarkable. Yeah. As usual, this video is sponsored by my People Pleaser to Powerhouse 4-week online course, and that's kind of the transformation that I've just described. It's like going from this version of myself who was like struggling to advocate for myself to being this magnetic, abundant individual. That's the transformation that I promise in those 4 weeks. We go through developing awareness in week 1, how we can understand our childhood roots, why we feel guilty, where that voice is coming from, and how we can then pluck it out. Then going to boundaries and how we're going to establish them, how we're going to utilize scripts, how we're going to utilize structures to make sure that we can advocate for ourselves in the moment and start choosing our own lives and our own success. Week 3 is about authenticity, unmasking, rediscovering who we really are without the mask, and therefore be able to embody our magnetism in week 4, when we embody our authenticity, when we embrace our authenticity, when we go from chasing to attracting. That's the transformation that I promise. If you're interested, click the link below. You're not going to be disappointed. But anyway, with that, thank you so much for watching today. I hope you took some value from it, and I hope that you can comment down below your experience of like what made your success remarkable, what you feel like is unique about your journey. I really want to know. With that, I will see you in my next video. Have a fantastic remainder of your day. Bye.